It's the worst.
Beyond the Texans?
Yes.
Giants?
Yes.
What up, good people? Jeremy Somerville alongside Drew Ward. This is the Full Coverage Football Show, and Kyron Williams is a scoring machine. Welcome into the show, brother Drew. How you doing tonight?
Good, man. Good. I'm excited about this game. Hoping the Vikings lose.
This game is important for you because you've been saying on this show for weeks about, what is it, the Lions? You play the Lions, and you got that Lions hangover, and everyone tonight is saying Vikings, Vikings, Vikings. Why is it a 3? Why are the Vikings only favored by 3? Drew, why are the Vikings only favored by 3? You know this answer.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions have beat teams up. I think every team that the Lions have played, they've lost the following week. And you give me Puka and Cooper Kupp back, I'm willing to roll with the Rams. I mean, Matt Stafford with his guys is pretty damn good. And I think he showed it on the first drive for, 4 for 6, 45 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, I was listening all day to all the national pundits keep saying, this should be a bigger game. This should be 6.5 point spread. This should be Vikings easily roll. This is a bounce back game for them. And you've been talking for weeks about that Lions hangover, how the Lions just beat the shit out of teams. And this team only had 3 days to prepare from that.
Right. Yeah.
So this should be a game where the Rams could easily win this. And I mean, I put money on the Rams just based on what you said. And for those who listen to the show and watch the show, he's been hot with Ward's wagers too. 2-1 again last week. And speaking of last week, let's do last week first. Drew, last weekend, we had some big matchups. We had Texas, Georgia, and we kept asking Texas, are they back? Are they back? Last week, we finally said Texas is back. And guess what? Texas is not back.
They're officially
Other than that, which we will talk about in a little bit, what'd you like from last weekend? What'd you not like from last weekend? What is this?
For me in college, that was the clear shocker. I mean, of course, Tennessee beating Alabama. I think Alabama's got its issues now with 2 losses. Everybody's kind of freaking out down there in Tuscaloosa. But what a big win for Tennessee. They start out the year like looking that they're going to steamroll people. They have a bad loss, and then for them to beat Alabama, I know it was at Neyland Stadium, but it's impressive. It was very impressive. I bet Alabama. I'm not going to lie to you, and I was good to see Tennessee win though. But yeah, the story of the weekend was Texas outside of Michigan kind of being manhandled by Illinois a little bit. That's just an offense depleted of a quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. There's just no ability to throw it down the field, But Texas laying an egg, and the 30-15 final is not really tells the whole story. I mean, Georgia stomped their ass right from the first kickoff, and it was kind of just making, trying to get this thing back respectable. I mean, if Georgia put the foot on the pedal, they'd won by 21 to 28 points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Texas defense, it didn't seem like they played that bad. It's just the offense kept putting them in bad situations.
Right.
We talked about that game. We thought Texas by double digits, and I said, and I looked really stupid after this, I said, hey, that Georgia defense isn't that good. That pass rush isn't that good. And then you had, Jalen Walker and Mikael Williams go out there and combine for 10 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, a fumble and a fumble recovery. Like, Georgia's defense lit Texas's ass up. And Quinn Ewers, who looked pretty good, looked like, maybe that injury meant a little more, is still hanging on a little more. Or maybe they just weren't ready.
Again, though, it's college football, man, and this is why I'm a proponent of the 12-man playoff, or the 12-team playoff, rather. It sometimes takes these college teams a while to get rolling. You're dealing with young kids. And Georgia is that proved to us, like, hang on there, young fellas. We're still Georgia. We're not dog shit. So and this is what the 12-team playoff makes it fun, because there's the 2-loss SEC team that's making the playoff. It's just now Alabama has to play perfect football, and this is why it's great. But yeah, Georgia said, hey, we're still here. We're still Georgia.
Yeah, the SEC is just going to beat the shit out of each other, and Alabama's got another big game this week. They got Missouri, who hasn't played well, but they need a quarterback to play well who's been hurt. And I feel like Jalen Miller might actually be hurt, and that could be an issue with Bama right now. But going on to the NFL, going in the NFL last week, your team, they take the Minnesota Vikings playing tonight. They took this undefeated Vikings team. They played pretty well against them. Everyone said, hey, the only way to beat the Vikings is to, beat their blitz. Well, you got Jared Goff, who's pretty damn good against the blitz, 14 of 16, 149 and a touchdown against the blitz last week. They also ran the ball. This is the number 2 ranked rushing defense in the league. David Montgomery gets hurt early, and Jahmyr Gibbs runs 9 for 84 on his first dozen carry, 9 carries, and then he had a few more, but it was almost 100 yards on the first 10 carries or so.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that was a huge win, especially the way the game started, right? Mm-hmm. The Lions came down, they got backed up, they punted. They came out, they go 3 and out again. They try to run a fake punt. That stopped. Immediately the game's 10-0. And you're thinking, okay, well, shit. Then David Montgomery goes out, and you're thinking, wow, okay, this is a bad situation. The Lions are just they have too many weapons. The defense is better. We've talked about it, even though their pass rush wasn't great. That was an impressive win and a needed win, because this division's for real. The NFC North is it is the best division in football as we speak right now.
Yeah, everyone expected the AFC North to be that team that division that has all the teams that beat up on each other. And right now it looks like there's 2 good teams, a team that's okay, and then just a trash-ass team in that division. As far as the NFC North, everyone seems to be good. Everyone seems to be competitive, looking pretty good. What else from the NFL last weekend did you like or not like?
I mean, I'll tell you what I liked is the Packers-Texans game. That was a phenomenal game. Mm-hmm. And again, it shows kind of like the Packers are I'll say this about the Packers. I think that they have a team that on any given Sunday could probably beat anybody in this league, but I just don't know if the consistency is there. And then for what the defense did to CJ Stroud in that offense was shocking to me. He threw for 86 yards. Again, insane. And then my only other takeaway is the Deshaun Watson injury. I mean, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that injury, I was in the car when that injury happened. We were going to talk more about this later, but why not just talk about it right here, right now? That injury happened. And as soon as it happened, you heard, "Oh no," from Nathan Zegura, the Browns analyst on the radio there. And you knew it was bad. And then I heard the cheering, a smattering of boos. And then we all know how the rest of the team feels about that. And a lot of the national pundits have had a lot to say. We'll probably bring more of that up in, Friends of Football a little bit later on. But for the Browns, that injury really just making things worse for everything they've got going on.
It's like kicking a person that's down. You're just kicking a person down for no reason. That's kind of what it is right now. I feel it sucks. It's like an elephant in the room. It's just like, hey.
But the thing is, this guy, and we'll talk about more later, this guy was so bad that he was putting up Jamarcus Russell type EPA stats. His advanced metrics are terrible, and it was never getting better.
Are you going to break down the Modell bill for me in layman's?
You want to break down? Yeah, I know a little more about that than I should at this point.
Yeah, you probably should. Yeah.
I did try to get a Cleveland councilman to come on the show. He has not responded to our email. Doubt he will. I do want to light this dude up for some of the dumb things he said. But this Modell law, you know what? Stay tuned. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Let's get into our storylines for the week, or headlines for the week. So, after Saturday, we talked Georgia, Texas. Who has a better chance of a national title at this point, Georgia or Texas, Drew?
I'm still going to take Texas. I think Texas, defensively, to your point, they weren't that bad in that game. I mean, the offense put them in terrible positions. But I think Quinn Ewers, for the amount of games he's played, he's been fantastic. Mm-hmm. And the injury, problem is the injury. He came back and he played a team where they were able to take care of business rather handily. So you play Georgia, that's a big-time defense. I think just offensively, Texas has just so much more to offer. And I think that they're the more potent opponent at this point. But again, I thought Texas is back. They're not until next
Texas
week.
is Texas back? Are they not back? It's really hard to say. Like, this is their first run through the SEC.
Correct.
And these SEC teams are just beating the shit out of each other week after week. But I
It's
am
way
with
less
you.
finesse ball. Like the Big 12 was known for tons of points being scored, more finesse ball, more guys being wide open. You go through the SEC, the SEC schedule, you got big fucking guys on every side of the football.
Yep.
And it's a grind, to your point. They get beat down over time.
And Vanderbilt's supposed to be the team that everyone could kick while they're down. And Vandy's playing teams tough every single week. You looked at Kentucky, you're thinking, okay, Vandy coming off that game against Bama, they're going to struggle against Kentucky, who's got a great defense. And they went in and beat Kentucky too. Right. And Vandy just keeps making teams fight. And they've got Tennessee coming up. They've got some really good games coming up. So yeah, the SEC continues to just beat the crap out of each other. But I'm with you. I think Texas is the team that still has a better chance to win the national title. And I'm not sure if it's based on what they're doing on the field or if the fact that after that game, Kirby Smart is out there saying, nobody believes in us. Nobody believes in us. Kirby, you're Georgia. You've won a couple national titles. You're one of the most dominant teams we've seen outside of Bama's Nick Saban teams of recent times. And you're going to sit there and say nobody believes in you. Yeah, everyone expected Texas to win this game. Outside of that, nah. You got to get over that. Yeah. But for me, it's going to be Texas just based on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to give an update on the game. All fantasy owners love this. Kirk Cousins to Trent Sherfield Sr. for the touchdown. I know everybody's starting Trent tonight.
Oh,
so happy for all the listeners that are. That's great for you.
Still nothing for Justin Jefferson.
The man's got 68 yards in the first quarter.
But no tutties.
Yeah, no TDs. I'll
tell you what, D's just slinging the ball back at home.
When you asked me to like pick a team, it's like, and I think you had the same mindset. Like Justin Jefferson's that pick. Like, yeah, I'm taking like he's, in my opinion, hands down the best wide receiver in football.
I don't think it's close.
I'm not sure it is either.
You got to think what he did last year, where he missed half the season and still had over 1,000 yards.
And yeah, exactly. And not only did he miss the season, then his quarterback goes down, and he still comes out and balls out. Yeah,
he's almost like this new generation's Andre Johnson. Like, you remember Andre Johnson with the Texans? No matter who threw the ball, you knew Andre Johnson was getting 1,200 to 1,400 yards and 7 to 10 touchdowns.
Yep.
Except he's probably better than Andre Johnson, and Andre Johnson was an absolute star.
I was going to say, I almost feel like that comparison may be correct on the premise that you're making, but I mean, Justin Jefferson is probably better than Andre Johnson.
Justin Jefferson's unbelievable.
He's crazy. Yeah. And I hate it. I got to play the guy twice a year. It sucks.
Jalen Reagor was taken before him in that draft.
Yeah.
Weird. The draft is such a weird thing. That's why every time we talk about these mystery box draft picks, like, we could trade this guy and get 2 first-round picks, or you could just keep that guy. Like the Myles Garrett talk this week in Cleveland. You got Myles Garrett, a Hall of Famer, almost guaranteed Hall of Famer at this point in his career. 2 first-round picks with a team that doesn't draft well. Let's just go with that.
Let me ask you this, and this is with I feel like after 4 years, so say a receiver is in the league for 4 years. Mm-hmm. And is mediocre, average production at best. I feel like when that receiver gets traded, that receiver kind of is what that receiver is. So I think like it's important in the first 3 years of a receiver's career to get with something where you are actually the main guy, because the guys that you mentioned had huge talent coming out of college, right? And they just get potentially in a bad position or a bad draft class or team rather. It's like, I feel like you don't see a lot of receivers play their rookie contract out and then get traded and then just all of a sudden be good.
So you're telling me Jerry Jeudy's not going to go out this week with Jameis Winston and go for 255 yards and 8 touchdowns?
With Jameis, he might. Love me some Jameis, dude.
I'm
going to blindly bet Jameis, even though it's probably this doesn't make any sense, but I'm just going to do it for what I believe.
Just
I believe James is fucking
listen,
fast.
We haven't had a quarterback in Cleveland throw for over 185 yards this year. So bet Jameis 200 yards, even with this team going full Ken Dorsey. Speaking of the NFL and quarterbacks, NFL MVP right now. The way I have it, personally, I think it's a 2-man race right now. between Lamar Jackson, who may be playing his best season ever and was MVP last year, and a guy I brought up just a little bit ago on your team. I think Jared Goff would be 1 or 2 right now in the MVP race. What say you on that? Without being too much of a homer, obviously.
No, I'm definitely not going to be a homer. I mean, I think what Jared Goff's done in the last 4 games, I think he's like 76 of 90 with 9 touchdowns and an interception. And he's also the best quarterback against pressure. And that's just the way. And the offensive line for Detroit doesn't let up tons of pressures. Jared Goff's been fantastic. Lamar Jackson. Did I just call him Jared Jackson? Did I say Jared Goff?
I think you, unless there's a glitch in your own
Jared
head.
Goff has been fantastic. Lamar Jackson, rather, not Jared Jackson. That's an NBA player. He personally brings more to the table, but I honestly feel like we had this same conversation last year with Lamar Jackson, where he came out last year and he was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, to me, it's like Lamar Jackson, this is the year he needs to put up or shut up when it comes to moving on in the playoffs.
Yep.
But right now you have to deem him the MVP. But Jared Goff certainly is deserving to be in that conversation. The people that want to put Patrick Mahomes in that conversation, statistically, you want to say team record, they're undefeated. Statistically, Patrick Mahomes hasn't been very good at all.
No. Patrick Mahomes has 1 more touchdown pass than Drake May. And Drake May's played 2 games. He's
played 20 minutes. So, So I would give it to Lamar Jackson right now, but I think Jared Goff, I mean, if you're going to complete 85% of your passes, I don't know. It's clearly not sustainable for a 17-game season, but I would say he's on a heater right now. And I think Ben Johnson and his ability to get guys open is something that's not going to necessarily stop anytime soon.
Yeah. And Jared Goff, for the people who are saying now with LA, look how the Rams are struggling. They're 2-4. They're 2-4. The Jared Goff for Matt Stafford trade still worked out for both teams. Great. So let's not keep going back and forth on that. That worked out fantastic for both. I don't think Jared Goff wins a Super Bowl there. I think Matt Stafford wins that Super Bowl regardus. I think that way that worked out.
Did you see the rumors on Twitter that Minnesota was interested in trading for Stafford?
I do not want to see that. That's like seeing Brett Favre
in that
Viking
happened.
jersey.
It's like people got to stop like listening to like some random dude with 12,000 followers. Like they got to stop. It's like, oh, they're in real negotiations, and it's like, dude, Sean McVay's not trading Matt Stafford.
No, I clicked on TikTok today and it said Cooper Kupp's traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 3rd-round pick. Steelers now are the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Like, stop believing everything you hear on the internet.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. Like, okay.
All right. They got Russ.
We're getting a little excited. We're going to talk Steelers and Russ in a second here, but yeah, as far as that, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, top 2. Derrick Henry, I think, is going to wrap up the Offensive Player of the Year vote by like week 10 at this point. That dude's just going off. It's unbelievable. Let's get back to college real quick.
He wouldn't fit the Cowboys system, though.
They can't afford him. They'll just keep paying Dalvin Cook, and Dalvin Cook hasn't even seen the field, has he?
If he has, I haven't seen him.
Yeah, just Dallas. After the bye week, weird matchup for them. We'll talk more about them later.
In the offseason, bro, they're rolling out Zeke and Dalvin Cook. Like,
we love Zeke.
5 years ago, you might have been a seriously potent offense, but that team's got issues.
Dude,
that
4 years ago, that's a phenomenal fantasy lineup. But yeah, it's
tough now because it's basically CeeDee Lamb. Jake Ferguson hasn't been really in a weapon at all. That offense has some serious holes, and their running game sucks because they decided to roll out fucking running backs that are 42. I don't get it.
Why were they just not giving Rico Dowdle the ball repeatedly?
Because yeah. No, you're right.
See what you got. All right, let's go to college real quick. Southern Miss fired Will Hall this week, 1-6. A lot of people overlooked this story, didn't even know it happened. But the reason we're bringing it up is because is this a move that we're going to see more often now? With college teams going, hey, halfway through the season, it's not working out. We don't think we want to bring them back. We know that transfer portal is important. We know NIL is important. We know other teams are already looking for head coaches like the second the season ends. Are we going to start seeing a trend where college teams start getting rid of their head coach midway through the season just to get a head start on NIL, transfer portal, and to beat other teams from grabbing more coaches.
I hope not, dude, but probably. What happened to the game I love? What happened to like college football? Like it's literally a, a money pit. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was reading an article like where coaches are saying to retain players, you just have to have money. Otherwise, they're going to a different school. So yeah, I could 100%. The problem is I hate the thought even of it because it's just like, what are we doing? What have we turned into? This isn't the NFL. This was supposed to be like where if some fucking bum school like Kennesaw State, for example, beat a huge school, and it would be great, and the fans go crazy. But like what it's becoming, it's just none of that. It's becoming just it's becoming baseball. It's becoming
To a
baseball.
certain extent, yeah.
And so
And
I know that's a long rant on a question. It was a yes or no, but yeah, it's going to start happening more.
yeah, I can absolutely see it happening more. And I already hated the way college head coaches would be because you'd have your regular season end and you had a bowl game in 4 weeks or whatever it is, and head coaches would leave in between then, and you got some random guy who's not going to be on the staff probably this following season coaching the bowl game.
Jimbo Fisher Christmas tree
Yeah,
story.
I mean,
It's one of my favorites of all time.
college needs to say, hey, this is when our season ends. This is a national championship game. That's when you can start leaving. It's the way it should be. But who knows if they'll ever get that right. Let's move back to the NFL. The Jets. The Jets suck. Flat out, they suck. Devontae Adams added to the team. Hassan Reddick's contract situation finally gets figured out. They go into Pittsburgh and give up 37 points to Russ. Russ was 8 of 9 for 150 yards on play action alone. Arthur Smith chewed him up. What are the Jets going forward? Like, what happened to this defense that was supposed to be good? Aaron Rodgers can't throw over the middle. Is he scared?
You want me
Are
to
we
tell
going to
you what
ever
happened?
see? Let's hear it.
They fired the coach for no reason.
Wait, it didn't fix everything?
Robert Saleh knows defensive football.
Mm-hmm.
Like they fired the coach. Like you fire the coach, you put an interim, you trade for Devontae Adams. So I love Devontae Adams, man. It's a great wide receiver. I don't give a shit. But like Aaron Rodgers is old and kind of fucking mediocre. So that's an issue too. And then like your team can't block anybody. That seems to be an issue as well. So it's like they're a disaster. They're a disaster. And it's like and they were before the Devontae. Everybody knew Devontae Adams wasn't coming in to save whatever this bullshit season is. It was never going to be that.
And now there's talk that Devontae lit into the team this week, a real passionate speech, and everyone's
People need
big
to be
on it.
excited on the sidelines.
Dude's
Like,
been
that
there
was-
for 20 minutes,
Yeah,
and this is the guy that's going to start leading you. Come on,
because the
this
way the
team needs to
locker room
toughen
looks
up
at it,
on the
dude,
lines.
the way the locker room looks at it, like, oh, that's Aaron's best buddy. So this guy comes in and immediately, like within 10 minutes, starts telling us what to do. And it's like, you think that's going to rub people the wrong way? Damn right it is. The locker room doesn't like that. They're not going to like that.
And the Jets, like you look at that roster and the way the team is, the offensive line is average at best, but you've got 2 horse running backs who you can just dominate with. Set up the pass that way. I understand you want to make Aaron Rodgers happy, but Aaron Rodgers is 64 years old in football years, coming off an Achilles injury. And yes, you've got Garrett Wilson, you've got Devontae Adams, you've got Alan Lazard, who's been average for most of his career. You've got guys you can throw the ball.
Lazard's been the best receiver on the team.
He has been. But toughen up, run the ball, and on the other end, stop the run. Like this defense with Quincy Williams. You look at the guys that they've got on defense. This was supposed to be a good defense. The secondary's hurt. They're just playing like crap. But the question now I'm going to bring up, switching sides here. The Jets suck, but is Russ good at the same time? Is Russ cooking this year?
One more thing.
Go
It's
ahead.
not the players, it's the culture
Yeah,
and where they've let the locker room get. You fired a coach who I know a lot of guys in that locker room respected.
Yeah.
So you can have a stacked team. Like not going to rant, Dan Campbell, for example, he's played with pretty much a dog shit defense for the last 3 years. Like, you can get stuff out of somebody if people want to play for you. Is Russ good? Was that the question?
Yep. Are we going to see Russ cook the rest of the year?
Oh, I'd love
Is
to see
Mr.
Russ cook.
Unlimited back?
He is not back. He is not back. It's just somebody that threw more than 4 yards on the field, and they were like, Jesus, this is Tom Brady. Nope, it's just not Justin Fields. And let's not forget for the people at home, the first quarter and a half of that game, Russell Wilson just threw the ball on the fucking ground the whole time. So, like, is Russ back? Yeah, he's back to being mediocre as they come. But I do love that, like, Russell throw the ball down the field. Like, that's what I'm so excited about we'll get to him, the Browns. Like, Jameis Winston's at least throw it. He might throw a pick, but, like, at least you as a fan have, like, some excitement that the ball's, like, moving around a little bit.
The moon ball is back is what I kept hearing.
Get after
the moon ball. All right, while we're staying on headlines, DeAndre Hopkins, as we're talking old receivers and guys who were good in fantasy football 4 years ago, DeAndre Hopkins is a Kansas City Chief. Like, this is an outside weapon the Chiefs haven't had in the Patrick Mahomes era, maybe ever.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Hopkins is he still a dude, or is this too late? Or what do you expect out of DeAndre Hopkins as a Kansas City Chief?
I mean, he'll be fine. He'll be good. Like, he's going to Patrick Mahomes. All right, let's get that out of the way. Like, it's going to be nice to go from Patrick Mahomes from Will Levis. And that and that's just the way it is. And he's been kind of in a position the last couple of years where he's just playing meaningless games. And for a veteran like that, if I'm a wide receiver and I'm going and put my life on the line, and I'm playing for a shit team for 32 games in the last, you know what I mean? It's just a bad team. It's hard to go out there and say, hey, I'm going to get after it, you know? And so now you get to a new team, and I think that you have a little bit more excitement and emphasis. But I will say this he's an older receiver. I don't think he gets separation like he did, but he certainly can be a possession receiver. And I think more of like a security blanket in the pass game for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins is that old wily vet who he's going to get open. He's going to make contested catches. It's just going to be something that fits. Don't expect 6 catches for 80 yards every week, but he's going to have some great games.
Can I say one more thing?
Go.
And this is going to sound crazy, but like when the Lions got Anquan Bolden, he was kind of like in the same, just gets open on. He's not going to beat you deep, but he can get you 5 catches on a daily basis. So I'm not sure. I
absolutely forgot that Anquan Bolden was on the Lions.
He was, dude. Listen. Cooper Kupp touchdown. We got a shootout out there in where are they? In LA. There's 4 LA fans and 47,000 Vikings fan, I'm sure.
Matt Stafford looks like he's playing 7-on-7 football because that offensive line is doing him no good whatsoever. And yet,
it's been the story of his career, honestly.
I don't know how that dude isn't like the original Tua, considering the amount of hits. And he hangs in the pocket like there's no one coming at him. It's insane. Dude's got balls of steel for a quarterback there, the way we see him these days. All right, let's move on to Friends of Football. So in this Friends of Football segment, it was going to be something different. People didn't get back to us. So the idea for part of this segment was to take some TikTok videos, people talking about football, and we would play them, give them credit for it, and then we would talk about it. I messaged some people. People checked out our profile, which means they kind of noticed that, I had sent them a message and they didn't get back to us. So don't be surprised if we start playing random TikTok videos on the show and then maybe getting shut down about them later, or people say we ripped them off or whatever. We will give them credit if we play it, but if we're going to get ignored.
Anybody give a shit about their little TikToks anyway.
Yeah,
respectfully.
We could do. We could just repost the video on our own TikTok and then show shit of our own TikTok. And hey, by the way, if you're on TikTok, as I say TikTok 86 times, check us out at FCFS Pod, where we post show clips and random stuff. Enjoy it. Anyway, Friends of Football, let's talk Cleveland Browns football, because everyone loves talking Cleveland Browns football. Who doesn't love talking about a 1-6 dog shit football team right now?
I love it. I enjoy it. Well, I don't enjoy it, but I'll talk about it.
The Cleveland Browns are absolute trash right now. And most of it is because their quarterback play has been some of the worst Jamarcus Russell, Johnny Manziel-esque quarterback play that we've seen in years. And that guy who was leading it is a $230 million player who seems to never have found the secret stuff that he had in Houston. Now, this week in the second quarter, in the middle of a game where he was 15 of 17, I believe, 128 yards, playing one of his more efficient games, but still not necessarily playing a very good game. Deshaun Watson got hurt just before halftime with the Browns driving and what ended up being their only touchdown until garbage time, basically. Deshaun Watson drops back. His Achilles pops. He drops to the ground. For most of the people in the stadium, it looked like a fumble that he just, dropped the ball and it was a fumble. So there were boos for that because it looked like, hey, another issue. To a lot of them, it was, hey, we also saw this guy go down. They saw it on the screen once they showed it. This guy's hurt. He goes down. People were happy in Cleveland. Not an overwhelming amount, but enough people to really cause an uproar from players after the game, from national pundits after the game, because there seemed to be a happiness throughout the stadium that Deshaun Watson was hurt. Now, was it a happiness that Deshaun Watson was hurt because he hasn't played good football? Honestly, that's part of it. Was it a happiness that Deshaun Watson was hurt because he's been kind of a piece of shit person most of the time that he's been with the Cleveland Browns, based on countless lawsuit after lawsuit for sexual assault allegations? Probably. Does it mean that NFL fans are hypocrites? Absolutely. Ask the Ravens, who love Ray Lewis, who allegedly murdered two people. Still wears the white suit, P. Diddy. Is it a hypocritical thing for NFL fans to love a player who's been accused of sexual assault but won a Super Bowl and that made it okay? Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger, who loves to talk shit, but was a pretty crappy person for the most part, but found Jesus in the second half of his career and was suddenly okay with everyone. Yeah, which made it okay. And you know what? He was even worse in college. I've met him there. I have personal firsthand experience about what a douchebag he was in college. However, when it comes to the Cleveland Browns fans, they have a history of being absolute dicks. The burning of the LeBron jersey, which got so much national press because it was LeBron and they burned a jersey. It was really like two assholes burning a jersey. Cleveland Browns fans 20 years ago cheered when Tim Couch got hurt because they loved Kelly Holcomb, the backup quarterback. This time, Deshaun Watson goes down. I won't even bring up the Derek Anderson situation because it was very similar to this. But Deshaun Watson goes down and there's cheers. Now, after the game, Jameis Winston talks about his upbringing and all this stuff about, I would never cheer for someone to be hurt. This is their livelihood. He's putting his life on the line every week. I get it. NFL's tough, but you're not going out there as a soldier going into Iraq or Afghanistan or some shit like that. You went a little too far with that, Jameis. Plus, Jameis has his own sketchy past. However, Jameis is one of those guys who has turned it around, and when he talks, he basically sounds like a preacher you would see in a Tyler Perry movie at this point. Now, other Browns players said thanks Myles Garrett, who the crowd had his back when he decided to assault someone on the field with a helmet, who may or may not have said something to incite him in that violence. NFL still, where's the audio on that? You got audio of everything that's happened in the NFL since 1975.
They're with the Epstein files.
Yeah, still waiting on that. What did Mason Rudolph say? Because Myles is a pretty mild-mannered dude. But Myles, excellent player. We had his back. Why? Because he's an excellent football player. Either way, hypocritical for the NFL players to be saying what they're saying to the fans, and hypocritical of the Cleveland fans to do what they did to Deshaun Watson to a certain extent. Both sides are wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. Either way, Deshaun Watson out for the season could set up something really good for him in the long run if you want to look at it, because nobody is loved more in Cleveland than the backup quarterback. And by the time Deshaun Watson's healthy and comes back, that's his best chance to be on this team, is as the backup quarterback. Now, to get more into it, Drew, what did you think of this situation when you first heard it?
I mean, it sucks, right? Like, to your point, you don't want to see anybody get hurt.
No.
the people just completely complaining about maybe 2,000 fans cheering for his injury. It's like, okay, that's disrespectful. You can't do that. And it's like, to me, it's like the guy was a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's like nobody's rooting injury. And for me, it's like the Cleveland fans. I don't ever think Cleveland fans were ever Deshaun people, right? I don't think like Cleveland's is a city, and I live here, and I'm not from here, right? And I don't root for these teams here. But Cleveland seems like a city where people and fans will really get behind somebody, right? Like it feels like that'll be their guy. And the quarterback in the NFL team, like you always want your city to be like, that's our guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it never felt like that to me. And the other thing is, yeah, to your point, he played bad. But at the same time, you can't come out here and rip fans and say, like Myles Garrett saying he's mostly been a model citizen college in the pros.
Mostly.
Like, the fans aren't necessarily cheering or whatnot that he's injured. It's just like they don't like the guy, and they have the right not to like the guy. And listen, you're not, but like, let's not as players come out here and give me a fucking 10-minute speech on how I'm not supposed to root for a guy that had the worst QBR in the entire league. I don't want to hear it as a fan. I pay like I'm sorry. Like, yeah, people that root on injuries are scummy, but at the same time, like, the hell with you. I'll do whatever I want. I pay for these tickets. The guy's a scumbag.
There's a certain segment of fans who don't see athletes as people. And it's because yeah, they make an absurd amount of money to play a game, and we pay an absurd amount of money to go see them play this game, or to bet on them to play this game, or to pay for cable packages to watch them play this game. I mean, so there is a disconnect between fans and players more than there ever has been. I mean, we joke about, when players had to work 2 jobs, they'd be bagging groceries in the off season, or you could go to your local bar and there'd be 2 offensive linemen, drinking and hanging out, and you can hang out with them. Those days are gone. It's a different time. It's a different era. Don't cheer when someone gets hurt. It's still shitty either way. But at the same time, it was a small aspect of a small group of the fans compared to the 66,000 that were in there.
The players just acted so weird about it. Like Jameis, and I love Jameis. You don't have to him and Myles didn't have to give a 10-minute speech about it. Like, it was just unnecessary. Like, read
100%.
the room, bro. Like, people, he's a bad person, which is why the people were cheering, and he sucked. Like, it's a double whammy.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Like, people are pissed off. Like, they're tired of watching the guy. Oh, he was playing well. He was 15 for 17. Dude, 15 for 17 for 10 yards. I know you said 127, but it's like he doesn't throw the ball any more than 6 yards. So it's like it's unwatchable. And I'm sorry, and I hope he heals up. But like, give the fans a break. And the players don't need to be telling the fans how to feel. The fans are going to feel. These are Cleveland fans, dude. They've been through the most dog shit. Don't tell us how to feel. You kidding me? And I'm not even a Cleveland fan. I'm a Detroit fan. It's the same damn thing.
That's not a blue Browns jersey you're wearing right now.
We're both poverty. We're poverty. We suck, and we know we suck, and we've sucked for as long as we have, and we're still here. So don't tell us how to feel.
Yeah, the thing is with Browns fans, if you're good and you're playing well, you don't even need to be that good. Like, I've watched Browns fans stick up for a guy like Kevin Johnson, who was a wide receiver who was solid on the expansion Browns, or the fact that Nick Chubb could kill the Pope in the middle of the field while DDTing Jesus. And the Browns fans would stick up for him. Like, there's a certain
Lions
aspect
fans are the
of
same.
this.
Look at like the minute the Lions won like a couple games, like the place is full.
Yeah.
And they're crazy and they're rowdy. And it's like,
and it's probably the best home field advantage in the league right now.
And it's like it just to me, it's like fans are allowed to be pissed. Like, dude, if you go to a Browns game and you get a seat that's decent, you're spending $150 at minimum when it comes to parking, the ticket, if you want to eat anything, and to watch dog shit. And fans in Cleveland have done it for fucking 20. And the thing that I'll applaud, and I know I'm getting way off track, the thing I'll applaud more than anything about Cleveland fans, they'll show up when it's fucking 20 degrees and snowing.
Sellout after sellout.
They could be sitting in their basement with dollar beers and doing their thing, but they're going to go sit out in the snow. And then you're going to tell us how we should feel. Fuck you. That's what I would say if I was a
0-16, and
Browns
they
fan.
were still going to the games.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
how
what?
I'd feel if I'm a
Talking
Browns
about
fan.
how cold it is, build the dome. Makes sense. And you talked about Modell's Law. I'll bring up Modell's Law real quick. Modell's Law was brought up so that the Cleveland Browns could not be moved out of Cleveland ever again, to have the Ravens situation where they moved to Baltimore. Now the
Does
Browns
that
are talking about
name
moving. What's
irritate
that?
you? Just talking about the Modell name, does that spark
So
up anything?
no, not really, because I always knew he was kind of a dick and he was terrible with money. My first run-in with Art Modell was when
Sounds
I was
like
8
me.
years old. Bank after bank, that guy got money from. But anyway, my first run-in with Art Modell when I was 8 years old. So I lived in Kirtland, Ohio, which backs up to Waite Hill, Ohio. And I lived in a valley. And we used to, be, as kids, wander through the woods, up the hill, out of the valley, and just follow the woods wherever we went, because kids used to go outside back in the day. We wandered into this backyard one day, didn't know whose backyard it was. Ends up we wandered into Art Modell's yard, and he tried to have us taken away by the police as 8-year-olds who wandered into this dude's yard. That was my first run-in with Art Modell. Anyway, Modell's Law. It's basically to make sure that
Kids don't show up in his backyard. That's the law.
dude, you're a billionaire, put up a fence. But anyway, I digress. So this law is basically to make sure that the Browns couldn't be moved out of Cleveland without another owner or another billionaire having an option to buy the team. Now, the Browns are not moving out of the state. They're not moving more than 20 minutes away from where this current stadium is the hope that they would move to Brook Park. For people who have been to Brown Stadium, who actually have really been to other stadiums, you know that that stadium is not a good stadium. It was put up in haste quickly to get a team back after Art Modell moved that team. It's not a great stadium.
It's a fine stadium,
It's a
though.
fine stadium, yes.
Like,
if you go to Cincinnati, and this is my thing, Cincinnati Stadium, not that much better than the Brown Stadium. Paul Brown Stadium, not that much better than Huntington Bank Field or whatever it's called these days. The problem is the location. It's a pain in the ass to get in and out of. And when they dug out the bottom of that stadium, they did it only half-ass, where it's half the stadium. So for big events to come in, you don't have the same staging area as you would for other arenas and stadiums where you can bring in the bigger events. Cleveland can't get the bigger events into that stadium because of the way it was built and the underneath where there's not another staging area. And the fact that getting in and out of there is an absolute nightmare. For Cincinnati Stadium, which I went and saw Taylor Swift at, the same night there was a Reds game right down the street.
Swifty.
And 50,000 random Swifties standing outside the stadium. So you've got upwards of 150,000 people in one area. I was in and out of that parking lot in 25 minutes and to my hotel within an hour after going to a random McDonald's, which was packed as all hell.
You gotta, and I'm not the gatekeeper Cleveland because I don't know shit about it, but I've been to First Energy Stadium, Huntington Bank, whatever you want to call it. The logistic issue is the right of it's the fucking lake.
Mm-hmm.
So there's essentially one-way traffic from both directions. And if you're going to pack an NFL stadium at 60 to 70,000 people, it's just not, it sucks. Like you can take 90 right to that little road and just sit there for 40 minutes and not move because it doesn't make any sense.
And it's the fact that it's separated from the rest of the city. There's nothing built up around the actual stadium minus one Mexican restaurant, which is behind the Rock Hall in Voinovich Park.
And the Muni lot's not even close. The Muni, that's the thing. It's like you're not like on top of the stadium fucking partying like you could potentially do in Brook Park. I don't know Cleveland. I live here. I don't know what Brook Park could be Chardon. Same fucking place. I don't know where anything's at. I use GPS. But apparently Brook Park's way closer to me, so I'm cool with that.
It is.
Shows and stuff.
The stadium's going to be set up right across from the airport if this all goes through. And we'll go deeper into this another time because I could spend another hour talking about this situation and the way it should be fixed. And as far as a football stadium, it's fine. It's okay. It's not great. That's the biggest issue. And it's not going to get better. It's it's a money pit at this point to keep it up because the lake beats the shit out of the one side of the stadium, and the upkeep for the city of Cleveland is $1 million just to upkeep paint and other things, and they keep taping over shit. And also, while we're talking about food and everything at NFL games,
Yeah, we
RC Cola is the official soft drink
RC?
of the Cleveland Browns. RC Cola, the last
Dude,
time I was there.
don't you fucking disrespect RC.
All these
No.
massive soda giants that you're
Hey,
thinking of, pop
listen,
giants, and it's
I
RC
respect
Cola.
RC. I respect RC. When I was living with my boys, John and Beals, these are my roommates. We would we get RC like cherry, be like hard to find. We like go to multiple grocery stores.
Uh-huh.
Like, listen, RC, it's the underdog, right? It's the underdog story is RC. So
Which
give them a
fits.
chance, give RC a chance that they're the underdog. I'll drink some RC.
Dude,
Clip this so I can send it to these.
I could have given you 100 guesses at the official soda, pop, whatever you want to call it, of the Cleveland Browns. And I don't think your first 94 guesses would have been RC Cola. But that's what they serve inside there. When I went there the last time and I was like, yeah, could I get a Coke? They're like, you got RC Cola. I'm like,
It's like that.
Is this Aldi Stadium?
I saw this skit online. It's like, oh, we have Dr. Pepper. He's like, well, we have Mr. Pibb. I was like, what the fuck is Mr. Pibb? And everything he said, you want to do? We got Mellow Yellow, sir. And the guy was just getting pissed off. He's like, these aren't real things. Like,
could I get a Dr. Thunder and a Mountain Lightning, please?
Yeah, Dr. Thunder. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's too good. But yeah, so I don't know how we got from stadiums to sodas, but here we are.
Hey, that's what we love about this show is we have no idea where it's gonna go. You want to pick some games? Get back.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right,
let's do that.
Game picks. All right. Yeah, college. 5 ranked matchups this week. 3 of them in the SEC. Let's start not in the SEC. Let's start with the team that will not pick a conference. Notre Dame, 12.5-point favorites, traveling to undefeated 6-0 Navy. Who are you liking this one?
Navy. You mean Navy? I'd like the money line, but I'm going to take the points just because, why wouldn't I do it? But there's no team I hate in college football more than Navy outside of Michigan. Or not Navy. Jesus Christ. I take that back. Our armed troops. I am so sorry. That is not what I meant.
Hey,
I was going to say
Drew
Notre
loves
Dame.
America. He's got a Lee Greenwood tattoo on his back. Ask him to show you if you ever meet him in
nothing
person.
I hate more than Notre Dame. The great that protect our country. I have respect for you.
I am going to take Navy with the points, but I think Notre Dame wins this game barely. Notre Dame can't pass. Navy loves ball control. Northern Illinois didn't ball control, but that option neutralizes, athleticism. It's going to be a good game.
What's the line again?
12.5.
Oh, we're rolling. We're rolling with the armed forces. I'm gonna make up for my disrespectful comment before, and I'm rolling with the armed forces.
Okay, moving on. Sure. We're both going Navy on that one. I'm taking Navy with the points though. Number 20, Illinois, the Fighting Brett Bielema's travel to number 1 Oregon. 21.5-point spread on this one.
Yeah, give me Illinois to cover that. Illinois is good. I mean, they're not great, but they're good. And Oregon, it's weird because Oregon's great and they beat Ohio State, and I get all that. Oregon is a different play style team than a lot of the teams in the Big Ten. And I think, yes, that takes some converting defensively to figure it out, but I like Illinois to hang within that number for sure. I think Illinois is tough.
Yeah, I like Illinois to cover this, but I'm going to take Oregon. I think it'll be 2-score game. Oregon's really, really good. And plus, that environment at Autzen is insane. Texas, 18.5-point favorites traveling to Vandy.
I mean, Texas is going to win, but it's so weird for me to like not just say fucking I'll take the points against Vandy.
Mm-hmm.
But for here, I'm just going to say Texas is going to win. I might bet Vandy on the plus 18.5.
Yeah. The Texas defense is still really good. We'll see what we get out of Quinn Ewers this week, or if he even starts. Maybe they go Arch Manning. Thing is, Vandy does not go away. You got it. I mean, Vandy just keeps coming at you, keeps coming at you. This could be interesting. Maybe they.
Dude, do you think Skip Bayless is like? What do you think Skip Bayless is up to these Vandy? Because he was like a diehard Vandy dude. I know he went there. Like he's got to be.
I don't remember the last time I saw a Skip Bayless clip. To be honest with you,
so in the reason I bring this up, he went to Barstool, which maybe means he's down bad because he would never go there.
He's not doing the show on Fox Sports anymore or whatever it was?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think he's done. I think he said he's a free agent. I'm not sure anybody's trying to sign him. All right. I'm sorry, dude. I'm very sorry. I don't even know what you're talking about. Well, I
think we picked that game and then we got on Skip Bayless. Like,
yeah.
The only Vanderbilt fan
that's
I know
is on me. That's on me.
There's a comic who I can't think of his name right now.
What's he look
Huge
like?
Vanderbilt fan. He just hosted Saturday Night Live not that long ago. That's the only Vanderbilt fan I knew of off the top of my head. I only
know like two comics anyway. Like
Nate Bargatze.
Oh, okay.
Nate Bargatze, right. Hilarious. Watch a stand up. Big Vanderbilt fan. Only know that because he talks about going to see them at a bowl game. He got his ticket at will call. They ripped it, and he had to go into the stadium like 4 hours early, and he just sat at the top of the stadium and watched his buddies party in the parking lot. That's it. Way funnier when he tells the story. Number 21, Missouri, and number 15, Bama. Bama 14-point favorites. These two teams, I feel like they're the same teams right now. You got offenses you don't trust, mildly injured quarterbacks. You had Brady Cook last week who basically walked off like it was some kind of, varsity blues style story coming onto the field straight out of the hospital, ripping off the hospital band, pulling the IV out as he's going into the huddle. And then Jalen Milroe still seems like he's not 100% healthy. What do you like in this game?
I like Alabama to win the game, but I will. I don't expect them to cover. I mean, again, Alabama. It looks weird because Jalen Milroe, who he's supposed to be, is not who he's been so far, and he looks uncomfortable, and so we'll see. But yeah, I think Alabama wins, but they don't cover.
Yeah, I got Bama in this one as well. Number 8, LSU travels to number 14, Texas A&M. A&M a 2.5-point favorite here. Connor Wegman going to start at quarterback for them.
Yeah, give me LSU in this one. I think they have one of the most underrated quarterbacks in all of football.
Garrett Nussmeier's a dog, man. When it gets time to clutch or gets into clutch time or it's a tight asshole kind of time, this dude lights it up. He's been really good and could be one of my favorite quarterbacks coming out in the draft, but I don't know. Like Jalen Milroe is supposed to be that dog in the draft.
You're not allowed to say that, dude. You're not allowed to say that. He's going to be up there in the talks with the Cam Wards and the Sanders.
Mm-hmm. Cam Ward is a guy going into the draft. We'll talk more draft later. Let's not get into that right now. We'll take this show way far off the rules. We'll get back into RC Cole and the Modell Law another time, as well as quarterbacks. This game, Vikes-Rams, you already talked about the Rams hanging in there as far as what the lines do to teams. Looks like you're right on this so far in the first half. We're still at a 14-14 game. Moving on to Sunday, Baltimore at Cleveland. This is now a 9.5-point spread last I looked. What do you expect out of this game?
Yeah, I expect the Browns to step up and actually play pretty decent offensively. They're definitely scoring over 20, which they haven't done all year long. So I will take the Browns and give the points. But I mean, Baltimore's a good team, but Jameis Winston, the Browns fans are finally going to get to watch an offense, and he's going to throw interceptions. So if you're looking for a clean game, he is not your guy.
Nope.
But he's going to push the ball, and that you're going to have some fun watching it.
Now, we don't think the Browns players are not going to show up to the game just to prove a point to the fans.
I do not expect that. I do not expect that.
This is the debut of Ken Dorsey as the play caller, and the last time I remember seeing Ken Dorsey as a play caller, he was smashing tablets in the booth.
It sounds like he's going upstairs.
He says he's leaning that way. He hasn't decided.
Would you want to be on the field or upstairs? Because I know you could see it better upstairs, but man, the fucking vibes on the field would be kind of where I'd be leaning.
Yeah, I would want to feel the vibes, but at the same time, when you're up in the booth and you're seeing the formations and you get a better view of who's coming in sub packages. Sure. I feel like that's the better way as far as strategically you'd want to be, but there's nothing better than being down on the sideline. This game, you know what? I hope the Browns score more than 20 points. I really do.
They will. They will. You want to bet $1?
Yeah, let's bet $1 on it.
All right, $1 on that.
All right. If they get shut out, I will probably smash my head with a hammer.
If they get shut out, you owe me $1 just for even talking about the game.
Yeah, we've talked about this game enough. Let's talk your team. 10-point favorite, 11-point favorite. I don't know what they are at this point. I don't have this one written down. All I know is this was a double-digit favorite. This is Detroit welcoming in the Fighting Will Levises. And I think this is a big game for Aaron Glenn. Because Aaron Glenn, I think, can really experiment with blitzes and things against Will Levis. Because they need to find a pass rush. Last game, 15 pressures they had last game. The last game, Hutch played full game, 15 pressures by himself.
Yep.
What do you expect out of this one?
That's depressing, by the way. I expect my team to come get Zadarius Smith from your team.
Which will happen within the next 10 days.
Yep, I agree with that. But no, I think, listen, I told my cousin, I said today, I had a dream last night that we lost to the Titans. And I said, I got to stop watching so much fucking football. Like, I got to, you know what I mean? Like, I got an issue, man. Like, I shouldn't be dreaming about that. But no, I think the Lions will take care of business. The defensive line is just Zach Pascal's out now. Like, everybody they put in there has literally died. And so it's tough to put any pressure on the quarterback, but I don't have much more to say. I think that it's just a better team, and I expect the Lions to win, and it's at Ford Field.
Yeah, this should be an easy win for them, but strange things happen in the NFL.
The NFL.
Hopefully it doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And Will Levis could have that one random Will Levis game where he goes off. I don't think it happens. Indy at Houston. Houston's O-line not playing well, but Indy's defense not good. This game basically playing for first place, but Anthony Richardson starting, he has not been good this year. He's been super inconsistent. Basically, would you believe it? He looks exactly the same way in the NFL as he did in college. But yeah, who you got in this one?
I mean, I think I will take Indianapolis, and here's why. I think they're eventually going to go back to Joe Flacco. Anthony Richardson is the most inaccurate quarterback in the league. He has the biggest arm potentially in the league. But he's super inaccurate, and I think he's going to continue to be inaccurate. And so, yeah, I'm fading that.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson, super fun to watch and super terrifying to watch. He makes a play that makes you say, holy shit, at least 3 times a game, and they're usually for all different reasons.
I take back. I just said I was taking the Colts here. I'm taking the Texans here. Okay. That was just, something came up in the head. That was not right. I'm taking the
When
Texans.
You said they were switching to Joe Flacco, I just figured you meant at halftime, and then Joe Flacco
would lead
to a win.
Well, Joe Flacco, I love me some Joe Flacco. By the way, did you watch him on Manningcast?
I did not.
He was stoned out of his mind. The man was higher than shit. Serious.
I need to find that clip. Sounds great. Joey Flack enjoying some edibles or just smoking up a big old doobie, lighting it up, whatever it is. Anyway, Houston, they're a different team without Nico Collins. Nico Collins is a dog for them.
One more week.
I will take the Colts in this game just for the hell of it. Green Bay at Jacksonville. Green Bay, pack should roll. This is a Jordan Love get-right game. Jacksonville is going to be filled with cheeseheads, a bunch of the snowbirds. And I think eventually after this game, Jacksonville starts making changes, but not at the head coaching position. What do you like in this game?
I think Jacksonville is going to lose, and I do think they make changes at the coaching position sooner rather than later. But yeah, Jacksonville is not winning. It's Arizona, a bad situation right now.
Go ahead. Sorry. Arizona at Miami. Tua back. Kyler and Marv. We don't know what we're getting from them every week. Mike McDaniel is still a genius. Do we know that? Because last week in the first half, no targets for Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill, which seems like a genius would figure out a way to get them some targets. Jonnu Smith was the lead receiver in that game. What do you expect?
I expect that was bad quarterback. But to me, the Dolphins being -4 after what we've seen, give me the Cardinals.
Yeah, I like the Cardinals in this one as well. And I think they played okay enough last week to prove why we should at least take them on the spread there. New York Jets, we talked about them earlier at New England. New England got their asses handed to them by Jacksonville, but Drake May's shown some progress the past couple weeks. Looks like he could be a solid quarterback. They can run the football. We'll see if they actually do. Did you get all blurry all of a sudden?
I did. That's
Okay.
fine. I'm gonna set I'm in my portrait mode right now.
That's sweet. I thought my eye was going out for a second there. I was like,
It's not. I checked mine.
All right, who you got? New England or the New York football?
Give me the Jets. Give me the Jets. They have to have this game. If they don't have this game, they can't really fire anybody anymore.
Can you fire the interim?
Yes. I guess you could.
Just keep firing dudes. Oh, Christian Darrisaw is down for the Vikings here with 21 seconds left in the half. That's not good. That dude single-handedly was taking out player after player last week, blocking like 3 guys on it.
I hate that. It
was ridiculous. Atlanta at Tampa Bay. This is also for first place. Tampa Bay down to just bringing in random players to play wide receiver. Godwin, who's leading the league in yak yards, out. Mike Evans out.
That was pretty fucked up too, wasn't it?
It was, especially since that game was pretty much wrapped up. No idea what to expect from them going forward. Sterling Shepard, hey, you're back in crystal clear HD, baby.
I don't know what's going on, dude.
I've seen it through Joe Flacco vision after you talk him being stoned.
And I may be stoned too, so and that could certainly be a factor that's weighing in on this situation.
Are you on PESs right now?
I might be on a lot of them.
as we do constantly. Why PESs? Why can't we just stick with PEDs that we all knew what the hell they were? When I saw Jameson Williams getting suspended for PESs, I'm like, what now?
For my first thought was for 2 games.
Yeah,
right. Isn't it usually 4 games? And so for it's like, and then
he was half dosing, Drew.
Jameson Williams put out a statement. He doesn't even know what he did.
It's ridiculous. But back to this: Atlanta at Tampa Bay for first place. Who you got?
Rest in peace, Godwin's ankle. Give me Baker.
Kirk Cousins in a big game? Ah, shit. Give me Atlanta just for the hell of it. Philadelphia at Cincy. Saquon. Just run the ball with Saquon, Philly. Philly, they can run the ball, they can throw the deep ball, but I feel like that's what Cincy does best on defense, even though their defense hasn't been good. Cincy looking for their first home win. Give me Cincy in this one. Who you got?
Yeah, I'll take Cincinnati as well.
All right. New Orleans at the Chargers in our 4 o'clock matchup here. Remember when these teams were both 2-0? Seems like a long, long time ago.
Dude, people were talking like Derek Carr was like this new man and stuff. Like he just had whatever that fucking, never mind. I had a joke, but I can't think of the name of the company, so it's kind of ruined.
We are
Just for Men. He had Just for Men. He was just putting it Just for Men, and then that shit it started wearing out over time, and he just couldn't get some more.
Him and Ryan Day using the same products there.
Yeah, stores sold out. I couldn't get it.
Darrisaw coming off the field with help. That's not good.
Oh,
if you're a Vikings fan. Yeah. Hate it for the young buck. Give me the Chargers in this one, by the way.
Yeah, I actually like the Chargers as well. Justin Herbert was dealing last week, by the way.
349, but no touchdowns.
They still lost. I don't know if you watched any of the game, but like he had a bomb down the sideline, and the receiver came back in bounds and got it punched out at like the 1 yard line through the back.
That was the previously mentioned Jalen Rager.
Taken that's who it was, Jalen Rager.
Justin Jefferson.
I'm like, golly, that's tough. But
all right, Buffalo at Seattle. What's the over under on the score here for this?
46.5.
I like the over on that one. This is Coop Week 2. This is Seattle. This is 2 first place teams. Seattle's D needs to get better. Who you like in this one?
I think Buffalo steps up and plays well this week.
Okay.
Their offense has been a little weird, right? Like they've had moments where it's very strange, but I think they're starting to get it figured out. And and you add Coop, we'll see what happens. But I think like you have to take into account Josh Allen's had very young receivers he's dealing with,
Yep.
and it hasn't been pretty. So early on, but I think they're starting to get a hang of it.
Yeah, I think Buffalo, even though they're traveling, all the way across country, I think they can still win this game. I think this is a big game for their run game to bounce back. Maybe see more James Cook. Maybe mix in the Ray Davis. See what they do there. 425 slate gives us Chicago at Washington. This was supposed to be the 1 pick versus the 2 pick. We don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to play. And Mariota was solid last week. But it's like with Mariota, it's like having a car where you can take 2 cars. One's got a half tank of gas, one's got a full tank of gas. Half tank of gas will get you okay, but it ain't going to get you as far as a full tank of gas. Mariota's a half tank of gas. But Chicago's coming off a bye. And I mean, the Bears are road favorites in this one. Last I looked, it was 2.5 points. Caleb Williams could get that team to, they're 4-2 right now? Are they going to be 5-2 possibly? What is the Bears record?
They are 5-2.
Okay.
They'll be 6-2. Yeah.
Oof.
I know. Can you believe that we played this many games?
No.
I know.
I feel like it just started. I feel like we just saw Florida State get beat in Ireland by Georgia Tech. And now Florida State's like 1-6 or 1-7 or some shit. Yeah. Who you like, Chicago or Washington?
Yeah, I like Washington. I really do.
Even if Daniels doesn't play?
No, if Daniels doesn't play, then I'd probably pass on it, but I'd take the Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough because like you have to. Marcus Mariota has been the same dude around for every team ever, so like he's serviceable, but I'm not going to bet money on him if he has to play a whole game.
Yeah, this is probably the best situation for him because this offense is set up for exactly what he was coming out of college.
That's true. That's actually a really good point.
Kansas City, undefeated still. Drew, who is the last quarterback to beat Patrick Mahomes?
I don't know.
Aiden O'Connell. The last team to beat the Chiefs, the Raiders. This is D-Hop's debut. Okay. Except they're going into Vegas, which is basically a home game for the Chiefs and every other team that plays there.
It's a terrible city to have a football team in, but whatever.
And Vegas is going to be led by Gardner Minshew, who turnover. What has happened to Gardner Minshew? All he does is turn the ball over. It's not good. The Raiders should lose this game handily, but this is a weird game. Are the Chiefs going to lose a game finally?
I mean, I'm not taking the spread's 9.5. I'm gonna take the Chiefs to win, but I'm not betting any money on that. I don't think the Chiefs are that good. They haven't shown it so far. I know they're so banged up at wide receiver. Mm-hmm. You can't just throw in DeAndre Hopkins 1 week and expect for you to all of a sudden be dominant. I just don't think it's gonna work that way.
No, but the Chiefs have found a running game. Their defense has been solid. I mean, Chiefs should win this game. But this could be one of those strange games. Who knows? But I'm going to take the Chiefs. Carolina at Denver. This is another big spread. Carolina going to be led by Bryce Young after he cut Andy Dalton's brake lines, allegedly. Denver, their wild card team right now. That did not actually happen. Okay. No one get mad thinking that's real. But anyway, Denver right now would be a wild card team led on Bo Nix with his bowler coaster kind of a thing here where one second he's up, next down. Yeah. But Bo Nix, maybe he's figuring it out. Has been playing better, but that defense, that D has been suffocating for the Fighting Sean Paytons. Who you like in this one?
Bryce Young's back this week. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see that Bryce Young's going to be playing again. I will take the Broncos to win. I will actually take the Cardinals to cover, though. It's 10-point spread.
Is it 10-point spread now? Panthers, 10 point? Ooh, it was 8.5 last I looked. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's up to 10.
Wow. A lot of double-digit spreads. And, we talked, 3 weeks ago about the 6.5, 7.5 point spreads.
Yeah, but these are huge. I don't know if the formula extends to 11-point fucking spreads. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But hey, stick with the numbers, stick with the things that we've noticed, and stick with what Drew said, because right now it is halftime and it's 14-14 still. And now with Darisaw out, Rams have a great chance to win this football game. 8:20 game going back to Sunday night. Dallas at San Francisco. Dallas coming off a bye. Maybe they found a running back, went shopping, got something cheap. Maybe Jerry flew one in his helicopter. I feel like Dallas needs this game. San Francisco is hurt, man. You got Debo in the hospital, fluid in his lungs from having pneumonia.
Yeah.
Ayuk's out. Calf is out. Mason got hurt. Like, Kittle's been dealing. It has been tough. They were in it last week for the most part. That defense still battling. They did end up losing to the Chiefs. But San Francisco, this game's in San Francisco. Who you like?
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is do or die for the Cowboys. This is a huge game for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the Cowboys. I think, to your point, with all the injuries, I mean, Brock Purdy hasn't looked great. They haven't been able to run the ball great, and I'm going to say that continues this week.
I think Dallas needs this game. I think if they don't win this game, Mike McCarthy better start packing. Better put that Christmas tree out in the curb, Jimbo Fisher style. But a little different. And I think Mike Vrabel should probably start working his way towards that. But that's for another day. Give me Dallas in this one. Monday Night Football. The New York Football Giants, led by Danny Dimes, travel to Pittsburgh to face Russ, who was cooking last week. No Andrew Thomas. Pittsburgh should eat in this one on defense. This should be an easy win for the Steelers. Stop putting these two on prime time all the goddamn time, please. Who you like in this one?
Yeah, I'll take the Steelers. I mean, sorry, Danny Dimes.
Yeah. Should be a Steelers win. Should be easy. And, hey, it doesn't matter if they win or not. Brian Daboll and Joe Shane are back next year regardless. It looks like they got the vote of confidence. Drew, you were 2-1 again last week in Ward's wagers, putting you to 156, 94, and 5. I have not updated those numbers, but that's what you are. You're 156, 94, and 5. Who you like this week?
Yeah, so I'll take the Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals minus 2.5. I mean, Jalen Hurts just hasn't been that good. I'll take the Cardinals on the road in Miami plus 4. I know Tua's coming back. That's fine. No big deal there. And then I will take Green Bay on the road minus 4 against Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville just stinks. They're finally home, though. They're not in London. So, anyway, Packers, taking the Packers, taking the Cardinals, taking the Bengals.
Dig it. Let's get another 2-1 at least. Let's go for 3-0 this week. Either way, last 3 weeks, you're 6-3. Pretty damn solid. Keep it up. I like it. Before we get out of here tonight, anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, I think we're good, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
okay.
Yeah, I'm excited for another good weekend of football. It's getting cold. We're ready to dial a little chilly. We'll get after it.
Is that you going chili this weekend?
I think so.
Nice. Can't go wrong with chili anytime. For those of you watching, those of you listening, we appreciate you. Remember, as always, if you live the life you love, you'll love the life you live. Good night, kids.